Welcome to the Unkind Rewind. I am your host for right now, Josh Duggan. Normally I'll be joined by Sean McGrath, and as schedule permits, my Munch My Benson co-host, Adam Schwitters. This would be generally where we would pick up the pieces from the episode before with listener comments, concerns, etc. But this is the first episode, so no need to do that. So without further ado, let's just jump right into our pre-interview with our guest, the inimitable Kay from Fuck My Work Life. Unkind Rewind. Get to the chopper!
You know what you are? You're one of those little fancy lads, aren't you?
Link and I are cruising the mountain, bro, and we figured we'd squeeze a little juice.
That was the interview.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm done. Oh, wow, that was great, guys.
Crushed it.
All right, so this week on the Unkind Rewind, we are joined by Kay from the Fuck My Work Life podcast, which is hard to search for, sadly. But if you check our show notes, it's in there. And if you check the Munch My Benson show notes, it's in pretty much every episode. So you can find them very easily that way. Apple has made it so you have to use 2 asterisks in the middle of
Does
fuck.
it? Yeah. I don't Google us, so.
Yeah. Well, no, like Apple Podcast does.
Yeah.
Which is, by far the most popular podcast app.
Yeah.
But Kay, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I've also got Sean on the line here.
Welcome, Kay. I'm wondering where those asterisks go. Did it has to be the middle ones, or can you just go asterisks? Case
Just all asterisks. You don't need any letters.
Yeah. So F asterisk K, my work life.
Yeah.
But yes, it's honestly, I'm not exaggerating when I say this. It's probably the only podcast that I've listened to every episode of.
Aw, I appreciate that.
I haven't listened to every one of Munch My Benson.
I have listened to everyone Munch My Benson, so.
Well, that's a task.
Kay, have you gone back and listened to every one of your podcasts?
No.
Yeah,
but she edits all of them, so that's different.
It's you're too close to it. It's like the restaurant down the block. It's too close. Yeah.
My co-host Jay doesn't even listen to all the episodes. He just shows up, records, and then he's done with it.
Sure. Yeah.
As long as he's listening during the podcast.
Sometimes it depends on how many beers he's had.
Yeah, it depends on how many Coors Lights he's had. I think I'm the only one drinking anything, right?
Yeah, I had a nice Whole Foods ginger ale for a while, but it's gone.
Okay, I've got a Hamm's.
I was drinking a spiced cranberry margarita earlier.
Okay.
I didn't want you to deal with the clinking of the ice in the glass,
Also from Whole Foods.
We're going to be
Costco.
Nice.
We're going to be editing
signature.
this a lot more loosely than Munch My Benson. I am refusing to edit this as diligently and carefully as we do that. So fuck that.
Yeah.
This is actually the first of the proper episodes that we've done. We have done test episodes, but Kay, thank you for joining us on the first, at least the first one that we record. Who knows how we'll sequence the release, but
canonically, we can call this the first.
Yes. But Kay, since the audience may not know you, well, I mean, our audience probably doesn't know anybody because we are just starting. But I guess introduce yourself, how you'd like to be introduced, what you do, I guess, but not, I mean, I guess you can't really talk about your work. But you can talk about your podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've already established my name is Kay, and from the Fuck My Work Life podcast, which is going to hit its 3rd year in February, which is insane. And we wanted it to
doing more than a couple episodes a year.
Yes.
Okay, because I've done podcasts where it's real easy to hit that year 5 doing 1 or 2 a year.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, we've released 15 episodes. Wow. It's 5 years in.
Yeah.
So
we
more
have
than seasonal
over
episodes.
100 episodes. I don't know exactly how many.
True seasons.
Are you in season, did you just do 6? Yeah.
Yeah, we're still in the middle of season 6. We just took a break in the middle because
I knew you're on a break. Whatever.
Life is hard.
Agreed.
Yeah. And work sucks. So it takes all my energy. But yeah, so Fuck My Work Life is basically, we thought it was going to be people writing in or calling in and just ranting, kind of like what I would like to say to my stupid boss or my coworkers.
Sure.
And that didn't happen. We just started getting weird fucking stories of just like random shit that happens to people on the job.
Often involving actual shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people love sharing their stories about shit.
Oh, I have. Yeah. I absolutely did on the podcast.
Yep. Yeah.
More than once. Actually, both of the episodes that Adam and I were on, we had shit stories. Yeah.
Were there? I remember there was like the coffee
There's the coffee shop one, but then there was the film set on the film set out in.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
By California City. Yeah.
The porta potty type bathroom situation. Oh God.
My Vietnam.
Yeah.
You're Vietnam, huh?
I had to reach down into a full bowl of shit.
Yeah.
Go listen to that episode. I forget which one.
It's
I think it was like
one. It's in all of the Munch My Benson. It might have been Honeywagon. I think Honeywagon's in the name, but it's the second episode that Adam and I did. All of the episodes that we're in are on the show notes for Munch My Benson. So.
Shout out to our corporate sponsorship, Honeywagon.
But that's Fuck My Work Life. Yes.
Yeah. It's fun.
I agree. It's like the only podcast I've listened to every episode of. So
I appreciate that. I think you're the only one still listening. No.
It's really weird doing this fucking thing, and
it is so weird. It's like
you
I
never
love
know why you have like these lulls, and it doesn't always just like, oh, it's summer, everyone's outside. It doesn't follow a logic that you're sort of able to suss out. So yeah,
and we both love doing it, but sometimes you put so much work into it, and then you're like, no one's fucking listening. Like, why are we doing this? I mean, the point is for people to listen.
Sure.
I mean, we have like, I don't know. I don't have a comparison. Like, we do have listeners. I don't think it's anything near a lot, but.
No, I mean, you guys at least have on a weekly basis on Good Pods, you're like way up the charts almost always, right?
I mean, you've been number one on
Good Pods.
We were for a long time when it was mostly like indie.
Yeah, it's all just indie podcasters that are
all listening to each other.
I know. It's very weird. It's basically a podcast app that's only for indie podcasters.
Yeah. Pretty much. So, yeah, I was obsessed with the numbers for the first couple years, and I just stopped looking all the time because I'm like, this is just a bummer.
Yeah. No,
don't do it to yourself. Just
it's an exercise
have
in futility.
Fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah, fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But seriously, I do love the podcast. And I know a lot of people have listened to our episodes, so there's at least that.
Well, Kay, you're gonna
Sorry, go ahead.
You're gonna have a new listener this week. Watch those numbers. Watch that number.
Listened to every episode in one day.
Yeah,
like 2 times speed. Yeah. Work sucks. Am I right, Jay?
Yeah, Kay. It does. But luckily, the Fuck My Work Life podcast is here to help you through.
In this comedy podcast, we share memorable workplace stories through guests and listener submissions in the hopes of brightening your day, or at least leave you thinking, maybe you don't have it so bad after all.
Listen to Fuck My Work Life on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on all the socials at FMWL Pod.
So you're joining us, and the movie that you were at least comfortable saying that you grew up watching and hadn't ruined
Confessing.
Yeah, hadn't ruined yet by rewatching as an adult and seeing that, oh my God, what, like, your Revenge of the Nerds or 16 Candles or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Your movie this week is Labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
The 1986 fantasy film starring Jennifer Connelly and David Bowie.
Yeah. And a bunch of Muppets.
Yeah. Yep. And I think pretty centrally, you'll find that it stars David Bowie's dong.
Yeah.
Whoa,
For a kids movie, too.
It is front and center a lot. It is thrust into the center of the frame often.
Yes.
It's very distracting, but you probably are aware of this. I don't think there's any way to avoid that. So I guess since it's been so long, you haven't seen this since you were a kid, right? Or maybe college or something, but
probably saw it as a teenager. But it's been a very, very, very long time since I've seen it.
So I guess since memory's kind of you mostly watched this roughly about when it came out. It came out in 86, so you probably watched it shortly thereafter.
Yeah, I can't remember if I saw it in the theater or once it was on VHS. I don't know. But it was definitely in the 80s.
Because we're all basically the same age.
Would you have been allowed to go to this? Would this have been a family movie? Would this have been like drop you off with some friends or siblings? Or do you think there's a chance?
I was 7, so it would have been with my parents.
Okay.
I don't think they would have been dropping me off at the movie theater.
So had you seen this with your parents, everyone got a shot of Bowie's Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure my mom was into it. You know, like mom's like, we're gonna go see this movie.
Yeah, I've heard some things about this.
Yeah.
There's a lot in this movie for me.
Yeah. And my dad was a musician and really into music, so
Bowie's a selling point for him, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up? What part of the country?
Southern California.
Okay. I thought so. I knew that you'd obviously from the podcast, I knew that you'd worked at In-N-Out as a youngin'.
Yep.
So how would you describe Labyrinth to somebody who's never seen it before? Like, what's your
memory of what the movie is?
Yeah.
So it's hard to describe. It's kind of dark, right? But kind of ethereal and dreamlike. Like, do you want plot description?
Yeah, I've never seen it. So if I was like, hey,
Sean actually has not seen it.
I actually have not seen this. Yeah. So what's Labyrinth about, Kay?
A young girl is annoyed with her baby brother, and she wishes him to go away, and then David Bowie shows up, and he's the Goblin King, and he takes the baby, and now she has to go through this labyrinth, and she has this time limit to make it through this labyrinth to get to him and her baby brother to get him back, or he'll be turned into a goblin.
I kind of feel like The Witch ripped this off. Like...
Kind of.
Yeah, like little baby brother disappears.
It's not that dissimilar plot-wise. Okay. So, did you have a baby brother that you were wishing would get whisked away by the Goblin King? Were you like really putting yourself in Jennifer Connelly's shoes?
No, I was the baby of the family, okay. I had no. You
were old enough at that point that they weren't wishing you to be whisked away by.
You were probably safe.
No, they loved me. I was perfect. My older brothers thought I was the best. No, they were probably wishing I got sold to the Goblin King.
Okay.
Bratty 7-year-old, always wanting to be in their business.
Yeah, like what is the bartering on that?
Yeah. It's definitely a barter system. There's no like economy in the Dark Henson universe. So you think you were like bratty at this age, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was definitely a brat because I was the youngest and the only girl.
Okay.
I was definitely a brat. But my brothers had 2 older brothers, and we were all kind of like 2 to 3 years apart from each other.
Like a 5-year span?
Yeah. Okay. So my brothers were they just beat the crap out of each other most of the time. So their energies were focused on each other. Yeah. So for the most part, I was kind of left alone. So I think because of that, I was a little bit more like I tried to get in with them, So I was a little annoying. Like, hey, play with me. Let's do this. So yeah, I'm sure I was obnoxious.
Yeah, we've seen your character in movies, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember liking this movie, Kay? Is this a good movie in your mind?
I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I picked it, because I haven't seen it in a really long time, and I remember loving it the first time I saw it, and then again, as a teenager, I still really enjoyed it.
So there's a little soft corner of your heart that is home to Labyrinth. Okay, good.
I mean, this is definitely a movie that I think most people of our age group who saw it as a kid definitely have like a soft spot for it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear a lot of like hate takes about Labyrinth.
I mean, Henson, Jim Henson was kind of infallible for
absolutely
that time.
Yeah.
Just making magic.
Yeah. And I think this was his last movie, right? Before he passed away.
I think it was.
Yeah.
He did some TV stuff, but I think this maybe
because he did the later Fraggles thing, right?
Mm-hmm. I think
right after this.
I know he did that like Jim Henson
We'll
Presents.
get into that shit later in the full episode.
But yeah, I think that would certainly be a bit more nostalgia around it if this was his goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any memories about like this movie and any like weird little things that you sort of remember about it or about like watching it with someone?
Not really the watching of it, but I still like quote some of the songs.
Okay.
Like Dance Magic Dance.
Sure.
When my friend and I rocked out to that in the car, like not that long ago.
Okay,
right 6 months ago. So I think the music from it sticks with me a lot.
Sure.
And I think just the whole, like, I don't know, fantasy element of it, like being a little kid and watching it. It's like what Sarah was going through and creepily to get to this older man who she kind of has a thing for, but I was like also hates. But as a kid or like a teenager, I'm like, this is kind of cool. I don't know why I like this, but I do.
So I guess mostly to close out the pre-interview, what do you expect to get when you rewatch Labyrinth?
I'm a little frightened.
Okay.
Because I'm worried it's gonna be ruined. And
it's a risk.
That's
it's a risk
little sad.
You're taking here. Yeah.
Because I did do this with, I don't know if you guys will ever get around to Never Ending Story, but I did ruin that a couple years ago.
There's no way that it won't happen. Like, there's just, there are too many, like, peers that will have not seen it.
Yeah.
It's going to happen eventually. I just don't know when it will.
Yeah. So I'm hopeful that at least there will be parts of it that will still bring me joy and like I can see why I liked this, but I'm really hoping it's not just like, oh my fucking God, this is awful.
Yeah. She's putting herself on the line here, Josh, for us.
Yeah. She's going to ruin my childhood.
We're going to get a bill.
Extra therapy this week.
Yeah, all right. $1,500.
3 extra therapy hours.
Oh boy, all right.
Fuck. Well, Sean, we're screwed.
All right. Well, donate to our Patreon to help pay case therapy.
Therapy tier on Patreon.
Yeah. I mean, I'm basing this off nothing, but let's hope for good things, and it rekindles those embers in your heart.
I'm actually excited to hear what Sean thinks. Yeah.
There we go. All right. Yeah.
Well, that's with the test episodes. I don't think I'd seen any of those movies that we did.
There were a couple ones that I'd never even heard of. So,
oh wow.
Yeah. I think
because we were trying to make sure that we didn't do movies that we were going to want to record a proper episode for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I'd seen any of them.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were some deep cuts.
And when you haven't seen it and have no affinity for the movie, your patience for it can be a lot thinner.
Safety's off.
Yes, safety is way off.
Yeah, Josh going hot.
Yeah, but that should wrap up the pre-interview. Thank you for joining us, Kay.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited for this. This is good.
Oh yeah,
I'm stoked. I get to see a movie I haven't watched. So I feel like I've seen everything, and then somebody mentions Labyrinth, and I'm like, wait just a minute. I have not seen that.
It.
I know.
I think it's even crazier when you've never heard of it.
Yeah, but everybody has those little blind spots.
Blind spots, yeah,
and they're always funny to others.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like you never saw
Gone with
Big
the Wind
Man on Campus.
Yeah. No, I had never seen Big Man on Campus, and
no one did.
No,
I don't know how Stuart saw it, but okay. Thank you, Kay. Thanks for joining us. And everybody make sure to tune in next week to listen to how Kay's revisiting of Labyrinth treated her.
We'll see if some magic does dance.
Nice one.
Thanks, Kay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
You've just listened to another installment of the Unkind Rewind podcast, mining and potentially ruining your childhood for content, one film at a time. Unkind Rewind is a Munchcast production and can be ingested wherever you listen to podcasts and on the Unkind Rewind YouTube channel. Music for this and every other episode of Unkind Rewind was composed by Divorcio Suave. Rate and review Unkind Rewind on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, Yelp, IMDb, Consumer Reports, Google Reviews, and TripAdvisor. Links to all of our social media accounts are in our show notes, but you'll find us as at Unkind Rewind Pod on nearly every social media platform that makes sense. If you had a question, concern, complaint, or positive feedback, you can email the podcast at unkindrewindpod@gmail.com, or you can join the lively Munchcast Discord to discuss this or any other episode of the Unkind Rewind with like-minded people. This dialogue with the pod may just make it into the next week's ep, so chat away. The Unkind Rewind Patreon will be coming soon, so start squirreling that pocket change away. Thank you for listening to another Unkind Rewind.
You have 13 hours in which to solve the labyrinth before your baby brother becomes one of us forever.
Life can be easy. It's not always swell. Don't tell me truth hurts, little girl, 'cause it hurts like hell. Someone true down in the underground, a land so green, a crystal moon. It's only forever, not long at all. Lost and lonely.
Magic of Jim Henson. The wizardry of George Lucas. Labyrinth.